It is Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer, which Big Ev will tell you extensively about in a second. I am back. I was out due to extreme vomiting and fatigue on Tuesday. Just couldn't go. Sometimes you can't go. And today, Kayce Smith is out because of travel issues with her responsibilities doing the college football show and the pro football show. Travel often gets her on the second show of the week. It has gotten her this time, but that's fine. That's why we have a four-man staff, because when one's out, three roll right along. And that's me, Blutman, and Big Ev today to get you ready for a week, whatever this is. After week 11, thank you. After Big Ev extols the virtues of the delicious and tasty High Noon Hard Seltzer.
Brendan, that is the thing about High Noon Hard Seltzer. It's just a fantastic beverage. It's delicious. Whether you're at a game, you're tailgating, you're at home, just hanging out any place you are around this country, taking college football with High Noon is the best. They got the end zone pack, all the original flavors. High Noon is just the absolute best. You can go all over the country. You can find it at highnoonspirits.com to find a pack near you. We got it in the East Coast, West Coast, North, South, everywhere. College football and High Noon is the perfect combination on a college football Saturday, and really any day of the week that ends in Y. Shout out High Noon, highnoonspirits.com. Find a pack near you.
Week 11. I don't like when it seems like this podcast, because we have an Ohio State guy right there. We have or whatever Blutman is, an everybody guy. And then we have a Mississippi State and Texas A&M, so we have a little bit of SEC slant. But I don't like sometimes where it feels like it's SEC heavy. However, if we're going into week 11 and we're acknowledging something, guess who's giving us the biggest games this week? It's the Southeastern Conference. Yeah. Guess who's giving us the biggest stories in college football this week? It seems to be the Southeastern Conference. So I apologize, but when if there were more big games in the Big Ten, I know we had Ohio State, Penn State last week. If Michigan was worth the shit, and if anybody could give us something, if I could get a top 15 matchup out of the Big Ten, I'd talk about it. If I could get a top 15 matchup out of the ACC, I'd fucking talk about it. If I get one out of the Big 12, I'd talk about it. But guess what? I ain't getting that. So this week, as we preview these games, the SEC games are going to be front and center. And before we get started with the games and everything we're going to see this weekend, we got to talk about the Florida Gators. Because I think we have today seen the death of a football program. I cannot believe, and about 11 o'clock Eastern time, Florida football, their official team account, tweeted out a letter from athletic director Scott Strickland saying Billy Napier will continue as the head coach of the Florida Gators.
Yikes. What? Gross? No?
Do you think that typing is a little loud?
Oh, the typing was getting you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. We all have to type every now and then.
I was saying a reminder for myself.
What was the reminder?
Well, it would spoil what I was going to say later in the show.
Big F, the Florida Gators are 4-4. They're going to finish 6-6 at very best. They've got a nobody. They've got Florida State. They've got LSU. They got Ole Miss. They also have a third-string quarterback right now. So they're going to go 6-6 at very best. I can't believe in a world where Indiana can go out and hire Kurt Cignetti and be a top 10 team in year one. I can't believe in a world where TCU can hire Sonny Dykes and be in the national title game in year one. I can't believe in a world with quick fixes and transfer portals and NIL deals that Florida is running back a coach they never should have hired in the first place. This ain't the Florida program I grew up with. I have no idea what the fuck this mediocre shit is. Big Ev, what say you?
Now let me, before I say this, I want to preface that I don't agree with the decision, but all year, if you've been watching the show religiously, there's been one guy on the show that's been saying, "Hey, Brandon, is there a chance? Is there a way? Is there?" I don't know if maybe there was something about the way they're approaching this season, the way that they get boat raced by Miami. They start playing a little bit better. They beat Mississippi State. They beat UCF.
Yeah.
They take Tennessee to overtime in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, they last week even if Lagway doesn't get hurt, they might win that game against Georgia. I'm sitting there and I'm like, they have a brutal schedule. The stretch they still have upcoming is insane that they have to play. That they have Texas and LSU and
Texas. I said they have nobody. They're not going 6-6. They're going 5-7.
they'd have to win one.
I fucked that up. I fucked that up bad. Go continue. Sorry.
They're gonna have to win to get to bowl eligible. They're gonna have to win one. They'll be heavily underdogs in. But I think it's the wrong move. But I weirdly saw it coming when it seems like no one else really did. I mentioned a lot of like if Lagway would keep him around, if them recruiting decently well is going to keep him around, and I guess it seems like he's getting a pass on the schedule. I feel like that's going to be the biggest aspect of it. He's kind of getting a pass that they're going to go probably 5-7. That the schedule is just so brutal that I think the team is shaping up to be maybe not as bad as we thought. Just the record's about the same. I mean, next year I'd have to imagine. Obviously, it's a do or die year. Schedule almost just mathematically can't be as hard as it was this year. The hope they'll be a little better. Now, do I have confidence they'll be better next year? Maybe they'll be a little bit better record-wise, but not really.
The roster might be fine, but they still have the worst coach in the SEC next year. I've got a lot of responses from Florida fans saying, Brandon, we can't risk losing DJ Lagway. Yes, the motherfuck you can. You cannot keep a bad coach because of one promising football player. That is the most defeatist, pussiest attitude I've ever heard in my life. If you go out and hire a good coach, he's bringing a good quarterback with him, I promise you, or he's going to be able to attract a good quarterback. You're telling me Miami can go in the portal and get Cam Ward, a Heisman candidate, and Florida is handcuffed to a freshman who's had about 3 good quarters? You're telling me that everybody can go out, that Indiana can go out and get a Curtis Rourke who turns into what he's turned into, and Florida is scared to death to lose a quarterback, so they keep a bad football coach? This is the Florida fucking Gators, and they are so tied to mediocrity. They're scared of their own shadow. Oh, my God, we can't let this player live. Fuck one player. Florida should have 55-star players. They should have 35-star players. There's no fucking way. You can't let one player dictate a bad coach coming back. That is the pussiest attitude I've ever heard from a fan base in my life, Blutman.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about Florida and why they chose to stick with him, it's because they have like 75% of their NIL funds in freshmen and sophomores, and they're like, hey, look what Napier's doing. Look what he's been able to keep it competitive. Ooh, rah, rah. But, I mean, Brand, we both know it's the wrong move.
It's the wrong move. It's crazy.
So I agree with Ev because I was seeing what he was seeing. I was seeing, hey, I called it early. I was like, they're moving on. They're looking towards Kiffin. Then the tide started to shift. And I'll say Kiffin started looking at another job.
Mm-hmm.
And then Florida, I brought this up to Brandon. We were both like very dismissive that, hey, even if they win 5 games, they might just stick with Napier. They really might just go down that road. And they went down that road in due part, I think, because Kiffin started flirting with another job.
I notice I have never said Kiffin has flirted with another job. You seem to
I'm adamant about it, yeah.
You seem to know something I don't, or think something I don't.
Well, I told you about this one.
I know you told me who it is. I'm not going to say who it is.
I know.
How confident are you in who it is?
I would say it's like a 6.5-ish out of 10.
Okay. All
fairly
right,
confident that there's serious interest there. I don't know what it amounts to, but I'm certain about the interest levels.
Once again, not me. I didn't say it. So deal with that however you want to deal with it. But anyway, back to Florida. I just again, you're in a world. It's the most competitive era in the SEC's history, I think. You legitimately have 7 to 8 gigantic dick-swinging programs just throwing haymakers every week. Your Georgias, your LSUs, your Alabamas, your Texases, your Texas A&Ms, your Tennessees. The list goes on. Meanwhile, Florida is in the back of the line with a shitty coach just saying, I guess we better keep him because we don't want to lose our good quarterback. Meanwhile, Georgia's going to recruit 6 quarterbacks over the next 2 years better than as good as the one that you got. It is stunning to me that Florida is this backwards. And frankly, I never wanted to say it. Scott Strickland as an athletic director, I mean, if that's the best job he can do, he's not good enough for the Florida job.
That was another thing too. He was on the hot seat.
Well, I don't want to be the guy that says he needs to be fired, but this is a decision. Whoever is the athletic director that makes it probably should be fired. That's what I think. He's a Mississippi State guy. I don't want to turn on a Mississippi State guy. I want him to succeed in his life and be happy and have success. But fuck, you fired Dan Mullen, a guy who won 29 games his first 3 seasons, for this, and then you stick with it. You didn't stick with Dan Mullen because of one bad season. You're sticking with Billy Napier because of 3. I'll never in my life understand what's happening at Florida. I just won't.
Well, I mean, that's the most glaring aspect of it is the Dan Mullen part. That's the part that people aren't really talking about.
Yeah,
I think is by far the most glaring. I mean, he was an SEC title game and playing competitively with the national champs, and then a year later he was gone.
All right,
and in the midst of Anthony Richardson, they have the quarterback guru with like the most raw, like special talent you ever seen.
Yeah,
said, "Nah, we're good."
Yeah, let's hire a guy who's never coached at this level, and let's go away from the guy who's developed quarterbacks better than anybody. And it's whoever's leading the charge at Florida. It might not even be the athletic director. They're drunk. They're drunk or stupid or one of them. So
both.
Anyway,
both, maybe both. Can I rattle off some numbers here, and you guys just tell me what SEC program this is?
Yes.
6-7, 3-5 in conference. 5-7, 3-5 in conference. What's it going to be? 5-7 and 2-6 in conference. What program is that?
That is the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Oh no, Brandon.
Oh, that's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
No, this is
that's the Akron Zips.
No, SEC, Brandon. This is the mighty Florida Gators.
That's
and
crazy.
They're just not going to fire their coach, and that's not good. You're Florida.
Even if what you said is true, that Liam Blutman thought Florida wanted Lane Kiffin, and when he opted to flirt with elsewhere, that they moved on. Why do you go from hopefully signing him to back to Napier? Because I feel like there's a wide gap of coaches you could get.
Correct. I don't have an answer for that. All I could say is there's a lot of incompetent people in this world. There's a lot of incompetent people in this sport. And incompetence, I don't have an answer for. I don't know what to tell you. We can't speak on that, right? It's just idiocy.
We can speak on whatever we want to speak on. We
can speak on it, but we can't you know what I'm saying? It's idiotic.
We can't rationalize it.
Correct. Thank you.
There you go, Big Ev. What a big word.
Rationalize.
This weekend, I think the spotlight is on a couple games in the SEC. It's Alabama, LSU. It's Georgia, Ole Miss. We'll, of course, be at one of them in Oxford, Mississippi when we get ready for Georgia, Ole Miss. I want to start with the other one because this is, for all intents and purposes, a playoff game. That's what it is. It is whoever wins is in great shape to go ahead and finish off the season and make the playoff, although I think I'm not doing good really memorizing everybody's schedule going forward. I think LSU's is tougher coming down the stretch than Alabama's is.
LSU's got a sneaky trip too.
Yeah.
Drum roll, Gainesville, Florida. I think the next week or tricky one.
I think if Lagway were to play or Graham Mertz wasn't dead, I think that would be tricky. If we're talking about that quarterback from Princeton or Yale or wherever he came from, then that's a nothing. But you're right. It is. I wouldn't want to go to the Swamp in November in any season, much less one with the just re-signed the powerhouse that is Billy Napier. It's Alabama. It's LSU, and this is the game. I think you talk about your Alabama Auburn. You talk about your whatever. Over the last 15 years, I think this is the best rivalry in college football. And it's not really a rivalry, and it just has become a rivalry because of how good these programs have been over the years. And this is annually, for a decade and a half, been the biggest game in the SEC. It's not the biggest game in the SEC this year, but it has been that. And now one of these teams is marching toward the playoff. One of them is really ending their season this Saturday night in Baton Rouge. Alabama, LSU, elimination game. Which way are you leaning, Big F?
It's not even leaning. I love one side.
What do you love?
I love LSU at home. go to Death Valley
Yep.
at night.
Yep.
Is just a brutal away environment to be a part of. I mean, to go there and have to deal with those fans, it's going to be chaos, hectic, and also, I still, even though they've looked a little bit better, I don't trust Bama's defense. I don't trust this team to be as prepared and as well coached as they were with Nick Saban. I'm still not throwing DeBoer in the trash. I still think he's a very good coach. But listen, he's not Nick Saban. No one's Nick Saban. I just really like LSU in the spot. I really like Nussmeier in kind of like a bounce back game. I know there's supposed to be some weather, which I think does hurt LSU. I think clear skies plays a little bit more into LSU's favor. They want to sling it all over the yard. So I do see that element of it, and I think it's worth mentioning just based on their styles. I think Bama's a little bit more likely to, if they get in a ground and pound war, if it's just a sloppy game, that probably favors Bama. But I still like LSU, especially catching points at home. Give me the Tigers. Go Tigers.
I'm going to tell you the reason I lean Alabama here. Coaching I think is probably a draw. Brian Kelly's a solid coach who occasionally has a stinker. DeBoer is a solid coach who's had a couple stinkers this year. This is why I lean Alabama. If you think back to that South Carolina game, what the officiating and then Lenore Sellers getting hurt. When Lenore Sellers was healthy and in that game, his dual threat ability absolutely flummoxed LSU. They had no idea what to do with it. Flash forward to College Station, Texas, 17-7 LSU lead, third quarter. Out goes the strong arm quarterback, in comes the mobile guy, and LSU has no fucking idea how to defend a dual threat quarterback. It's the most stark drop off I've ever seen when a dual threat quarterback comes in. They couldn't defend shit. And now they face probably the most dangerous dual threat guy in the country. And if Jalen Milroe is put in a situation where, hey, by the way, I need your arm a little bit, but I need your legs a lot, I think that is perfect for him. I think if you don't have to throw for 300 yards, if you can throw for 150 and run for 150, that is Jalen Milroe all day. If LSU hasn't learned to do the read option in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, they're in for a long fucking night. Plus, night game in Baton Rouge, I get that. I think it's the best environment in college football. If you've ever been there, it is quintessentially perfect college football. But Jalen Milroe's been in some big spots in his career. He's not going to be scared, I don't think. If it's on his shoulders, I like that. Liam, break the tie. What do you think?
Well, I'm in a pickle here because I completely agree with the stance on Jalen Milroe and his legs. Now I'll say this. There are two things, not exactly the most football-wise, that are screaming at me here. One,
weather.
Tiger on the sidelines. Live tiger.
I don't think he's going to be able to eat anybody.
He might just chomp off one of Milroe's toes. We don't know. Two, number one college football personality in the not just the country but the world, Brandon Walker, months and months ago said there's a rude awakening coming for those Alabama fans. A reckoning. Your day is coming.
Yeah.
One thing about me, I believe in Brandon Walker. I believe in the words that he spews most of the time. Sometimes don't. I ended up seeing the vision here.
You hear that, Big F?
What?
He might as well just said, I believe in Brandon Walker, except when he's talking about Indiana. Is that correct?
That was it. Yeah.
No.
that was exactly what I was thinking when I said it.
If it makes you feel better, I am not doing my lookout Indiana upset alert this week. So this is probably the week they do lose to Michigan, but I'm not doing that this week. I think they roll Michigan because Michigan's fucking garbage human beings and garbage at football.
That's fair, but we have to talk about that. If Tuttle the Conqueror was playing, we could talk about that game all we want. But no, we don't got to talk about it. I started to see your Alabama vision. I love killing DeBoer, but year one might be too tough for him, might be too big of a task. I am quite literally siding with LSU here because of the vision, the profit of Brandon Walker.
Last time we saw not Doug, Garrett. Thank you, Brandon. Last time we saw Garrett Nussmeier, he was melting down at College Station, Texas. He was god awful. He was garbage. He basically led them straight to a loss. he's not a bad quarterback. He's certainly not that bad of a quarterback. I do like the idea of him getting redemption at home. It also, depending on that weather coming in, I don't know if it's coming in now or not. I know there's a chance of rain. There was a chance it was going to be a washout. I don't know where we stand with that. But all I can say is if it's a washout, it sounds like an iconic scene at Tiger Stadium Saturday night.
It'll be incredible. I mean, I think he bounces back, and I think even the wind would probably play even more into it than the rain. The rain I don't even mind as much. I just don't want to be crazy windy. But I guess I see what just seeing the vision of the fall of Bama. I mean, the most college football thing ever would be LSU winning and then them losing a game down the stretch. But I just really think they respond. I just don't trust Alabama's defense. I think they're going to protect him well. I think he's going to chuck it all over the place. Lacey, Anderson, all these guys. I mean, Mason Taylor. I just think they find a way. I think they find a way.
My favorite part of today was when Blutman asked me, "Hey, Brandon, do you want the ads printed out, or do you want me to email you the ads?" And then he just didn't print out the ads and bring them to me.
Yeah, you definitely threw them away.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yeah, you definitely did.
Nah, here they are. I'm just messing with you.
They are.
I'm just messing with you, friend. And I'm going to read these ads. And, buddy, you've never seen anybody read an ad as inspired as I'm about to read this one.
Yeah, just
football. Shut up. Football on TV means flannel lined shorts, cozy hoodies, soft pullovers, and quarter zips for those early morning tailgates. I'm, of course, talking about Chubby's. Chubby sent me some line joggers, and then they sent me some other stuff. It's very, very remarkably comfortable. What greater honor is there than best dressed at the Saturday morning tailgate? Our original stretch shorts put Chubby's on the map for a reason. Available in 3 inseam lengths, depending on how much thigh you feel like showing off. Big Av, you a thigh showing off guy? I'm not. I'm a long short guy.
I'll dabble a little bit of both. I'm a versatile guy, Brad. I'll show a little thigh, then I'll cover the knee up.
You'll go high and you'll go low.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Versatile.
No matter how much thigh you feel like showing off, these shorts are made with a super stretchy fabric and elastic waistband for maximum comfort and flexibility. Their shorts come in fall-ready fabrics that pair perfectly with our game day tops, so you can rep your team with pride and style. Pair the original stretch shorts with Chubby's lineup of Friday shirts, and now you're cooking with gas. From casual button-downs to retro-inspired prints, these shirts are built to kick back, turn up, chill out, party down, and some fifth direction pace descriptor. And if I was clever, I'd do one on the spot right now, but I'm not. Come on, this wouldn't be a true ad read if we didn't mention Chubby's classic line swim collection without hyperbole, the absolute top of the men's swimwear game. Whether you're squeezing out as many beach days as possible before the winter gets here or swimming laps at the gym, our ultra vibrant trunks built with a quick-drying four-way stretch fabric are the best damn swim trunks humankind has ever created. Our friends at Chubby's are giving our listeners here at Unnecessary Roughness 20% off with the promo code ROUGH, ROUGH, at checkout at chubbysshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with promo code ROUGH. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. No matter where you're watching the game, Chubby's has the gear to keep you comfortable and looking your best. And the other possible playoff kind of predictor in the SEC, it's Georgia, it's Ole Miss. It is Lane Kiffin getting another chance at that program-altering win that he really hasn't gotten so far at Ole Miss. He's gotten them to the brink, hasn't really gotten that win. This would be that. If they win this game, you can almost chalk them up for the playoff. Georgia, in the meantime, has played. One day, Blutman will do a study on the schedule disparity in this country, because that's might be the biggest untold story of this season. The schedule disparity between certain teams, like Georgia, for example, they are playing their third team that's been in the top 10 on the road so far this year, this Saturday. There's teams in the Indiana. There's teams, Texas. There's teams that won't play that many ranked teams all year. Indiana's not going to play a ranked team outside of Ohio State. The schedule disparities that some contenders have is crazy. Georgia's schedule is ridiculous. Some are not. But Georgia, I'm losing the plot. Georgia going to Ole Miss. Big Ev, what strikes you here?
It's what strikes me the most is I think it's a lot of what people have said about Georgia this year, just their inconsistency. It's just like what Georgia team's going to show up. Is the Georgia team going to show up the first half against Bama? Are they going to be the Georgia team that showed up the second half against Clemson? the team that showed up against Texas, the team showed up against Kentucky, Mississippi State. We don't really know. Even the team that showed up last week before they get a fortunate DJ Lagway injury. I think because of that, I'm gonna take Ole Miss. Those are catching 3, but I really think they can pull this off. Their defenses look better. Ole Miss, I think they got smacked in the mouth a little bit against Kentucky. I feel like they've hardened up a little bit since then. Their offensive line's very good. I think it's a very close game. I think it's kind of a classic like SEC just a dogfight kind of game. I think Ole Miss can get it done. Carson Beck's been far too inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
For me to really just feel good about relying on and on the road here. And I do think going off what you said kind of at the top of this game, playing such a gauntlet of a schedule, I do think will eventually catch up to. And you could say, hey, maybe it already has with all the close games they've had. They lose to Alabama. But still, I think that matters. And I think Ole Miss is able to get it done here. It's going to be a hostile environment. Like one of the biggest games Ole Miss has had in a long time.
Yeah.
I really like Ole Miss here.
Yeah. Blutman?
I don't like that Trey Harris is doubtful. I don't like that.
I mean, it's possible they're lying. Did you see their injury report?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there.
They put 26 players on their injury report. There's 22 starters in a football game.
It is absolutely ridiculous, and maybe the out guys are actually playing. Who knows what Lane is doing? This stuff is, again, it's like the fake injuries that you do during it. Stuff is gross. Let's be serious about this. This ain't fair to anybody. It's a ridiculous amount. I'm very intrigued to see Ole Miss's passing attack, though, regardless of if Harris is playing or not, against the capability and the potential that Georgia secondary has. Malachi Starks is so dang good. Dalen Everett is so good. They've got so many guys in their secondary that not only benefit from a fearful pass rush, but are just God-given abilities and talent. Unreal. I gotta be honest, I don't have a pick for this game because Georgia is not the same team. Maybe they are the same team and they are just some weird. I don't have a pick. I
don't know if I do either, but I'll talk to a couple of Big F's points. It's going to be a hostile environment. Sure, it's going to be as hostile environment as Ole Miss can muster probably, but that stadium isn't exactly a hostile stadium, and they've already gone into Austin, Texas on a Saturday night. They've gone into Tuscaloosa, Alabama on a Saturday night. I don't think the environment is what would get Ole Miss by here. Certainly, I'm sure they're up for this game. They're excited for this game. You also said Ole Miss's offensive line is very good. I don't really know that. I think that's their weakest spot. Kentucky caved that offensive line in, man. Kentucky at the point of attack dominated them. There's no world where Kentucky and Ole Miss this year should be competing against each other in an even way. And Kentucky beat them in a toss-up game. Georgia, though, has played in a toss-up game against pretty much everybody on their schedule outside of that dominant second half against Clemson, that dominant second half against Alabama, and then the trip to Texas. They were not good against Mississippi State. They were not good against Florida. They were not good against Kentucky. They were not good against Auburn. Do they have to look in the eyes of another top 10 team before it registers, oh, we got to fucking play today? Is that what they have to do? Do they have to get in a spot here on the road where you have a capable Jackson Dart and a capable Lane Kiffin who's dangerous as hell? Do you have to get in that spot before you wake up and you realize, oh, we're fucking Georgia? I wouldn't bet against Georgia in this spot. But at some point, Lane Kiffin, who's a very good coach, is going to win a game like this, and he hasn't done it yet. So I don't know that I have a pick yet. Or I might just unveil my pick on Saturday in the Grove or wherever the fuck we are. We're not in the Grove. Yeah. I mean, certainly I hope Georgia wins. And if Georgia, because I don't like Ole Miss. There it is. But I respect Ole Miss and I respect Lane Kiffin as a football team. I hate them as an institution, and I want all their businesses to fail. But as a football team, they're really, really, really fucking good, and that saddens me, and I don't like it. I don't. Anyway, we can get into the categories in just a second after I tell you about pork rinds. Pork rinds are delicious. Ladies and gentlemen, time to huddle up. Listen close. For 2024, we pay tribute to a true game changer in the world of snacks, the unrivaled, the unbeatable Southern recipe pork rinds. Whether it's the spicy dill, it's the sweet barbecue, Whether it's any of the great flavors they have, pork rinds are delicious, healthy, filling, a perfect snack for football. Nothing goes better with football than pork rinds. PorkRinds.com is the nation's premier hub for pork rind lovers everywhere, and it's celebrating its annual Crunch Time Hero of the Week campaign, a sponsorship program designed to highlight outstanding football players during the regular season. From now until the end, a collegiate player who has a phenomenal play or significant tackle during the 13-week regular season will be eligible for the Crunch Time Hero of the Week award. The package includes a celebratory trophy, swag, and a generous supply of pork rinds to share with friends and family. Crunch on Southern Recipe pork rinds and find your Crunch Time Hero at PorkRinds.com. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds can be found at Kroger, HEB, Food Lion, and more. PorkRinds.com. All right, there we go. So I guess we can get into our categories. I mean, there's other games, obviously. Indiana, Michigan. That's a big name for Indiana to possibly feast on, or it's a spot for them to trip up. Who knows? Miami at Georgia Tech is certainly a slippery spot for a team who has been trying to slip for a while. Colorado, Texas Tech is another huge spot in the Big 12. You got a lot of those games. I guess is there anything I didn't mention there, Blutman, that needs to be mentioned before we dive into the categories?
Maybe a powerhouse program like UCLA going up against a historically good Iowa offense. Maybe a Minnesota Rutgers. Minnesota, sneaky good, I'll say it.
Yeah.
Insane.
Anomaly that team lost to UNC. It's a joke that they blew that game.
It's also good. At the same time, those games kind of even out because the USC win they had was a little.
Yeah, but some of them you just remember.
Yeah, some of you remember. The ones you lose, you should have won. And the ones you won, you had them the whole time.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll start with this. We'll do the most excited. Big Ev, what game are you most excited for this weekend?
The reason we already talked about, Brandon, it's Bama LSU. And the reason I'm saying this is because when the 12-team playoff was put into place, this game is the poster child of it. This game last season, a 2-loss team versus a 2-loss team at this stage in the season means absolutely nothing. Now, 12-team playoff, Bama LSU, 2 historic programs, 2 teams that have slipped up twice this year. This game, that doesn't mean nothing. It means everything. The winner of this game, if they handle business down the stretch, is going to the playoff. The loser of this game, their season is over. Kaput. Dunzo. In the trash can. Everyone's opting out. People are leaving. Jobs are potentially on the line. Not head coaching jobs for either spot, but just things are changing. Things are happening, moving parts. This game means everything, and that's why the 12-team playoffs are fantastic, and that's why this is the game I'm most excited for.
When the 12-team playoff was announced and the negative Nellies immediately got their hands into it and said, well, this is just going to devalue the regular season. The regular season is going to be meaningless. You dumb fucks. No, it's not. What it has done, it has set the table for a November that is full of basically playoff games. It is full of desperation. It is full of opportunity. He is exactly right. Last year, if these 2 teams played in this spot with 2 losses, you don't have to watch it because it doesn't fucking matter. Guess what? It matters now, and all these games are going to matter. This is life or death for these football programs and these fans. Whoever loses this game, whichever coach loses this game, is like, hot seat might be too big of a saying, but they're going to have to answer some fucking questions. If Alabama has 3 losses coming out of Baton Rouge, they hired the wrong guy. That's what those hillbillies are going to think. If LSU has 3 losses and one's at home to Alabama in this prime time spot where everything's in front of you, Brian Kelly's got some shit to answer for. This is a playoff game in November. My God, why else would you watch college football than for games like this? This is easily the game to be most excited about. But Blutman, tell me about the FCS game I'm missing.
Well, Brandon, I'll tell you about one later. But yes, this would be my game to watch, but I didn't choose it because everyone knows it. I chose something a little different. I chose Colorado at Texas Tech. I think that this is a fascinating Big 12 game. I wish that this was at night too, but it's not. So whatever. All eyes on this while we also watch Georgia Ole Miss. Texas Tech, Colorado. Both teams are live to play in the Big 12 championship game. Colorado's favorite here by 4. They're rolling. They're humming. And they're the talk of the Big 12 right now, them and BYU. Texas Tech is a sleeping giant, man. Okay. but they're sleeping. They're sleep.
They're
How do I
slept
word
on.
this? Help me out here, Brandon. Help me out here, Ev.
Texas Tech is a powder keg of potential.
Love that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
they're walking
very
around the
eloquently
woods
put.
right now, just getting ready to scare you, and jump on you. And yeah, it ain't Halloween anymore. I'm just saying, Texas Tech is potent. The offense is legit. Baron Morton is a stud, absolute gunslinger.
Running back is also
Heavy
very fucking
Brooks
good.
is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this team is really dang good, and they've improved greatly from where remember when they got blown out by Wazoo and everyone just kind of wrote them off. They're there. I like that team. I love this game. Travis Hunter's playing football. Shador, good game. I can't wait to watch it.
I think the under the radar category is flush this week.
Yeah.
I think it's flush. I think upset alert is flush this week.
You know why?
Why?
It's landmine week.
Did you just name the week? But I named the weeks.
You didn't name the week yet.
I didn't name the week.
Landmine's pretty fucking good, Brandon.
I kind of like landmine week. You know
Landmine,
what?
honestly, there's so many games that fall in the landmine.
This week,
Wow, that was landmine. I don't think there's a better word to describe this week.
it's first coined by Liam Blutman of Unnecessary Roughness. It's landmine week in college football because you have the shiny SEC games at the top, but past that, it's almost all landmines. It's a Miami landmine and Georgia Tech. It's a Indiana landmine with Michigan. I know they're not good this year, but the talent profile and everything, there's landmines. Colorado at Texas Tech. There's just everywhere.
Iowa State, Kansas.
What's your under the radar game this week? Liam Blutman.
Ooh, for me, my under the radar game is Miami at Georgia Tech because week after week, people kind of just look past Miami and it's like, yeah, they'll take care of business. And then every week they're in this sloppy, gross, gotta figure out how to weasel our way out of this one kind of game. And it's
Can't save us.
It's happening over and over and over again. Georgia Tech, we've seen, they are a competent football team. They are very capable, and they've got a pretty solid foundation on defense. Now, if Haynes King could go in there, stay healthy, and be a warrior of grit on the offensive side of the football, yeah, you like that? Georgia Tech's going to be in this game, and this is another spot where Miami just loves to flaunt their talent and their swagger and the U is back and this and that. You got to go in there and take care of business. And I ain't seen you take care of business since, heck.
They haven't really.
Bethune
Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Florida.
If Haynes King can be a warrior of grit,
Florida.
Big Ev.
If he can.
Big Ev, what's your under the radar game?
It just got briefly mentioned. I mean, one of the biggest landmines on this card, Iowa State at Kansas, is a big time underrated game. Iowa State, how did they get off the mat? Brutal 1-point loss to Texas Tech, who I think is a very good football team. I agree with Blutman's assessment just prior. Kansas playing a lot better. They smashed, I think it was Houston. They should have beat Kansas State. We're very, very close, covered. I think this is a scary, scary spot. I know they lost the offensive coordinator, but Leipold is still a very good football coach. I stand on that. I'll never really waver from that. And this is just a tricky spot for Iowa State. They have to get off the mat to a team with a dynamic quarterback. I'm just saying, tough spot, very underrated game. Iowa State, they lose this one. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. Season's over. Win this one. Still very much alive to win the Big 12.
All right. Big Ev, you were close. You were almost right when you said, first of all, that is a very under the radar game, one I had written down, but you said this might be the biggest landmine of the week. It is not, and neither is Miami at Georgia Tech. The biggest landmine this week.
Oh, I know what you're going to do.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Say it. I already know it. Say it.
The biggest landmine this week is going on the road to your arch rival. When you're 8-0 and you're walking into Utah who's 4-4 and doesn't seem like they have a much to play for. A Utah team who has struggled, who has fought through injuries. But you're walking in there as BYU, a perfect season on the line, but you've had close calls. You've had some games where you've barely escaped, and now you're walking into one of the toughest places to play in the country. I know they're not very good this year. I don't care, because in this spot, in this moment, BYU is walking in undefeated, and Utah's just sitting there salivating at the opportunity to renew this rivalry and fuck their whole season up. This is the under-the-radar game of the century, perhaps, because Utah is a fucking trap. They are, and I'm not saying trap game, but they are a trap waiting to just clamp down on BYU and end their fucking dreams. That's the under-the-radar game, and that's the landmine of the century. Thoughts, Big Ev?
No, I mean, you're totally right. It's one of those that, as a BYU fan, as a BYU lover, a BYU lover, I look at this, I see that line, I see this where I say, oh my goodness, 4-4, Utah, 3.5.
Yeah.
But God, night game at Utah. Kyle Whittingham still the head coach last time I checked. Scary business. But BYU's been maybe not to the degree of going to Utah with Kyle Whittingham in the Holy War, but they've been in a bunch of these spots and they just kind of find a way to win. So does Utah win? Does BYU win by 3 here? Maybe so.
Maybe.
They don't cover.
Bloodman, what do you think about that game?
I think it is a scary game, but I think the one thing about the Holy War, maybe this doesn't get the respect it deserves, unbelievably good trash talking game. We saw Tyler Huntley a few years ago when he was at Utah. What did he say about BYU? They sow poo-poo. That's the levels of trash talk that these guys go. What did BYU quarterback Max Hall say in 2009? Brace yourselves.
Oh my God.
I don't like Utah. In fact, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their program, their fans. I hate everything. It felt really good to send those guys home.
You okay?
Throw the football away. These two teams, these two programs know how to create some good old trash talk. And they got on Max Hall about what he said. They were like, "Are you sure about that? Clarify this, please. Are you please show some class," is what they told Max Hall. And he said they threw beer. They said nasty things to my guys. I had to stand up.
All right. Now, kind of very similar to Under the Radar, because a lot of the games we just said for that are applicable here. Who's on upset alert, Big F?
I mean, it's the one I had two written down. We talked about both games already. It's Colorado. Colorado's an upset alert here. I really think they are. I've been very impressed with them. They're better than I expected them to be. But Texas Tech, I don't want to say a sleepy spot. It's the toughest game left in their schedule. But a Texas Tech team playing good ball. You're going to Lubbock. I think this game's going to be a shootout. A lot of points, a little Red Raider shootout. And I think Texas Tech, unfortunately for Colorado, and Coach Prime comes out on top. Texas Tech wins. Colorado on upset alert big time.
Blutman, upset alert.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. The Wikipedia for the Holy War has some all-time quotes just littered in there. I can't wait for that game. Excellent pick, Brandon. My upset alert. I'm sorry to do this to America. Army, short favorite on the road at North Texas. What's North Texas got in their bag?
On offense.
And what about that offense?
It's explosive.
Mm-hmm. Big hitting, big play machines. How about a guy like D.T. Sheffield? JUCO kid, went to Wazoo, did his thing, but ends up at North Texas. Joystick receiver, incredible after the catch. You got to look out in this spot. I like North Texas outright in this game. I'm not going to lie. I think, unfortunately, there's been too much talk, too much propaganda about Army and going undefeated and adding up undefeated Army against that Notre Dame team. Too much. Focus up. North Texas, upset alert. Army.
Also, I think the line moved from 6 to 4 today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Daly's not playing.
Yeah.
Got to be.
So he stole mine. That was going to be mine. But I could. I think it's almost it's almost the entire card.
Yeah.
because like Georgia is certainly on upset alert going into Oxford, Mississippi. Miami is like it is a perfect upset alert. Like you can't draw up an upset alert better than this. They're going as a double-digit favorite into Georgia Tech, and they played a close game against pretty much everybody. They're going into Atlanta. Georgia Tech is a talented enough team to pick somebody off. I am sure of that. That's an upset alert. Iowa State on being only a 3-point favorite at Kansas. He's right when he said Iowa State and Kansas because Iowa State's still 7-1. I know the loss stings. You win this one, you're 8-1. Things are okay. You lose this one, season's over. It's over. Iowa State is on upset alert. Colorado is on upset alert. Everybody's right. Army was mine, but it's landmine week. I almost think everybody's on upset alert. Everybody who's ranked, be fucking careful. It's November now, and when it stings, it's gonna fucking sting. We're all playing for keeps now, and if you're a ranked team and you're ranked and the other team isn't, doesn't matter a fucking bit because it's dangerous out there. Look out. It's landmine week. Now that you gave me a title, I know how to. I mean, shit. I can just go back to that every time. This is the category Blutman doesn't like, but I like it. It is 2 overtime potential game, and I would like to point out my 2 overtime potential game last week went to 1 overtime. So I nailed that part of it. But if I know anything about anything, I know that man over there, I know that Big Ev has got it. Tell it to me.
Brandon?
He's going to do the thing. Watch this, Blutman.
I got deep in the lab here.
No, you didn't.
I got deep in the lab. Last week, I was a field goal at the buzzer away from going to overtime. I almost had it. I've been just chasing the carrot. I'm going to pounce on that thing. I keep going Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
No more. ACC.
Ooh.
Duke at NC State.
Okay.
Double OT. Book it. It's coming.
Calling it. You got it.
I have it. It's right here. You see, it's right here under my arm. Right here.
Yep.
5 points of protection. I've got it. Tom Coughlin. Football. Protect the ball.
Ball security is job security.
Double OT. Job security. Double OT.
Blutman.
Well, someone needs to go back and look and see how close we even get to these. The entire.
I did overtime twice, by the way.
All right. Well, I like where Ev's head's at. I like what he's talking about. North Carolina State, Duke. How about UNC? One issue. UNC don't play this. Well, wait. Yes, they do. 1-8 Northern Colorado. 2-7 Eastern Washington. Why not a little double overtime in the Big Sky? A great Twitter account conference where stuff gets a little weird. Why not? UNC.
I think you might be my favorite person, Blutman. The way you deliver shit, it's just I was like watching a good movie at the cliffhanger. I'm like, what? Wait, UNC doesn't wait. Oh, fuck, he did it. Northern Colorado.
Who would have seen it? I got it this week, Ev. I got it too.
Well, let me tell y'all something. Y'all are outthinking yourselves. You're overthinking this. You are, both of you, because you're running from the Big 12. Well, the Big 12, every game is close. That's where the potential for these games is. Remember early in the season? Remember last year? Remember when every Colorado game was a fucking spectacle? Remember when every Colorado game had something down the stretch where you're like, did you fucking see that? It's back. Colorado at Texas Tech. For reasons unknown to anybody, it's going to be 27-27 in the fourth quarter, and they're going to be headed straight to overtime. Going to be a classic in Lubbock this week. Colorado, Texas Tech. It's been far too long. 4 weeks since we had a Colorado Classic? It's time to have it again.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Colorado Classic on the horizon.
All right.
Those are good.
Big Ev, player to watch. Who is it?
It's one of my favorite players in the country. It's Garrett Nussmeier. Gut check game for him. Rebound game. One of the worst second halves of football I've ever seen. It was shocking to me. I didn't know he was capable of playing that poorly. Truly, I was shocked by it. I think he responds here. I think he bounces back. But regardless, this is a game. This is a money game for Nussmeier. You're an NFL guy. Show us, Garrett. You want to be a playoff team? Show us, Garrett. Bama coming to town under the bright lights. Big spot. This is what you came to LSU for. Night games in Death Valley against Alabama. Let's see it, Garrett Nussmeier. I'm on the Nuss bus. I never jumped off.
Blutman, name your 5.
I only got a few. Tonight, Thursday, Coastal App State. I don't think either team's particularly good, but Jordan Faber's safety App State. Look out for him. An interception, 3 pass breakups on a season. Goes for big hits a little too much, but whatever. He's rangy. He's a ball hawk. I like him. Friday night, New Mexico plays football. Yeah. Check in. Devin Dampier, quarterback, UNM, playing football, 58.1% completion rate this season. That's okay. 2,243 pass yards, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. What's that tell you? Fun brand of football. Also running for 8 yards per carry and has 13 rushing touchdowns on the season. He's playing at a much bigger school next season. Then, top 10 running back in the country had one heck of an October. Talk about 24 for 134 and 4 touchdowns, 21 for 118 and 2 touchdowns, 21 for 210 and a touchdown, 27 for 232 and 4 touchdowns. That's all from a kid who played at Limestone last year. That's Trey Stort, Jacksonville State. 15 rushing touchdowns on a season, run for about 7 a pop. Top 10 running back in the country, NFL future. Not sure with what extent, but he'll be on a roster.
I have, for player to watch, I have the Ole Miss defensive line. Because last year, Ole Miss went to Georgia. They got beat 52-17. They did not have the horses. They had the skill position players in the quarterback, but their lines got overwhelmed by, because that's where it gets you in the SEC. You can have the receivers, you can have the running backs, you can have the quarterbacks. But ultimately, Georgia and Alabama and LSU are going to have 6'6", 325-pound monsters running 4 or 5 40s. They're going to have freaks. They're going to have these just absolute circus animals just out there that you can't even imagine exist. They just have a different breed of football player at the offensive and defensive line position. Ole Miss didn't have that last year. They didn't have the freaks. They didn't have the guys that could put fear in your heart. They have them this year. And they got them for spots like this. They went out and got Princely, and I'm not even going to attempt to. Every time I try to say his last name, I fail. So they got Princely. They got Walter Nolan. They got guys, and that's along with guys they already had, like Ivy. They've got a great defense up front. So what'd you get it for? To come back to this game, to come back to Georgia, who humiliated you last year, and turn it around. Now, if they come out and they win this game, it's going to be because that defensive line dominates. They force sacks, they force turnovers, they do all these things. If they don't do that, they're going to lose. So it's the Ole Miss defensive line. That's what I say. And now, the Liam Blutman Memorial. Cover your eyes. Game of the week. Blutman, you go first. It's your category.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about this on Saturday night, but the Conference USA weeknight games were truthfully a disaster. And now some of those teams are playing on Saturday again. And when 1-7 Kennesaw State gets to meet up with 1-8 UTEP, what do? You look at the UTEP uniforms that they're wearing, an immaculate throwback, and you salute them and you appreciate them and you throw them a retweet on Twitter, but you do not watch this football game for the sake of your health, your sanity, and those eyes. Because you don't want to come down with a case of old Liam eyes. Do not watch that football game.
God knows you don't want that. Big Ev.
We fixed them, Brando.
They're looking better. Big Ev, the Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes Game of the Week.
I might have to cover my eyes for the segment. This is maybe the most brutal one we've seen.
Yeah.
We have, although I do love them as a team, they've covered some spreads for me. The 1-7 Kennesaw State Owls going down to El Paso. Like 1-8 UTEP. Yuck. God. I maybe take Kennesaw State plus 3.5.
Maybe.
Don't watch it. Just put it in, hit submit, and then put on another game.
I think I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go for the Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes Game of the Week. I'm going to go with 1-7 Kennesaw State. 1-7 Kennesaw State going to 1-8 UTEP. I just can't imagine being a Kennesaw State fan and like driving down the hour and a half down I-75 to Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, getting on a plane and flying to UTEP, getting out, going to baggage claim, getting my stuff on, and then going to the stadium and be like, it's our day, everybody. Nobody wants this to happen. Nobody wants to watch it. Nobody wants to be involved. Kennesaw State and UTEP. And I think I probably had the best one out of all three of us. What do y'all think?
I think I've had the best one.
Oh, you like Big Ev's better?
Yeah.
Sorry. Well,
I covered my eyes for effect.
That's true. He did
I was
follow
myself when I was like, ooh, when it came out.
So it is time to build the unnecessary roughness parlay presented by DraftKings. This parlay has hit 4 times this season. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. It has hit 4 times. That's very fucking good. So DraftKings, again, the unnecessary roughness parlay presented by DraftKings. I'll go around the room. I've seen the parlay. I don't know whose pick is who, although I have a feeling I know which one Big Ev's is because I know he's hot on this team. I think his is in Lubbock, Texas. Who is yours? Who's your pick for the parlay, Big Ev?
You're incorrect, Brandon.
Oh, I'm incorrect. I'm sorry.
I think I probably have the one. It's funny because I like all the picks in the parlay, which I guess we'll find out was good or bad. I'm actually on, I think, most of them. But this week, I know this is a plug your nose.
Yep.
I know they have some injuries at quarterback. The Florida Gators, plus 21.5, are going to keep this thing with the 3 touchdowns at Texas. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to find a way. Oh, Billy Napier kept his job. The boys rally around him.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep this one within 20. Even 21 gets it home. Florida Gators, plus 21.5 at Texas.
Liam Blutman, what is your entry into the unnecessary roughness dog of the week parlay presented by DraftKings?
I went to Texas Tech last week and we took them plus 13 against Iowa State, and I was mighty close to saying, let's just take the money line. Almost did again this week, but we like to be a little safe with it. So Texas Tech plus 4 against Colorado. I think, again, Texas Tech wins outright, but we'll take the 4 points here at home. Good football team, good offense. Bader and Morton and the crew, they got us.
I assume then that the pick that is in the parlay that isn't represented here is Kayce's, which is Vanderbilt plus 4 at home against South Carolina. And I finish it out with that landmine of all landmines in Utah. I like Utah plus 4. I think it's down to 3.5 now. It was plus 4 when I gave it today, I believe. I don't know what that. I had the parlay. Let me tell you what it pays at right now. Where did it go? There it is right there. So it is Utah plus 3 against BYU, Vanderbilt plus 4 against South Carolina, Florida plus 21.5 against Texas, and Texas Tech plus 4 against Colorado. That pays at plus $12.51, plus $12.51. A $100 bet gets you $1,251 if it hits. And that is, of course, the unnecessary roughness dog parlay of the week, brought to you by DraftKings. This week, DraftKings has a college football parlay profit boost. All you have to do is head to the app and opt in. So head to the app now to check out our bet and claim this week's boost. Week 11 is upon us. We will see you Saturday night. Me and Big Ev will see you possibly on Saturday afternoon if you're in Oxford, Mississippi. God bless you if you are. Once more into the breach go I, Big Ev. We're gonna be in Oxford, Mississippi.
This is big time, Brandon. It's a long time coming.
God fucking
first time we're in Mississippi. Got to go to the premier program, Mississippi.
This is not Mississippi. Ooh. This is Oxford. Oxford is not Mississippi. It's not real life. Anyway,
my first time in Mississippi, Brandon. First time.
Well, that's whole your experience, the whole tour.
If I were getting there in time, I would take you to a real Mississippi town to get real Mississippi food around real Mississippi people. Instead, we'll be at that fake piece of shit. But whatever.
I'm sure we'll have a good time. Friday night. We're getting crunk. That's
a good bar, and the Square is a good time. And if you need restaurant recommendations, give them to me or ask me because Oxford's one hell of a place to eat food. I'll give them that. And pretty women. What are you going to say?
It's big of you to admit.
Why is it not Mississippi?
It's not. It's fake. It's fake life.
That's why I'm asking, because I've never been there.
It's too preppy. It's preppy for Mississippi.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
It's all the students are now from Dallas and Atlanta. Just couldn't get in Georgia, couldn't get in Texas, so they go to Ole Miss. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'll see them Saturday. That's it. That's Unnecessary Roughness. We'll see you next time.